You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain and the Top 10 Gardener Podcast. Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show.
All right, so Ken and Lisa Lain, the mountain gardeners. In this segment, Lisa just brings garden questions. What are your neighbors talking about that maybe we can share that would help you in your own backyard as well? So welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you.
You're looking fabulous, my dear. Fabulous.
And
You
now
look fall ready.
I can see myself on the camera and I can tell you.
The great thing about audio, the terrestrial towers, all they hear are the voices, but we're starting to do this by video as well for vlogging or whatever. And you do have to watch what how you look more often. Allergies still bothering you?
They are.
Ragweed going crazy. I get a little tinge too. I think it's the wind or the dust or mold. I have no idea. It's something fall is in the air. Yeah. But suck on a little bit of coffee, hot tea, and it kind of helps.
I've never had allergies. I've lived here my entire life. Never had allergies till about 2 years ago.
Yep. Till COVID. It's COVID's fault. Everything is COVID's fault.
I always tell people I don't have COVID. I promise. It's just allergies. Because I feel fine. Nothing's wrong. But yeah, my voice and a cough.
Well, you look fine.
Well,
okay. To this old guy.
This is the man who's going blind and wears one contact.
Okay, so anyway, we've had a couple customers in this week and they're going, no, I really enjoy listening to you all, but you laugh so much that it's hard to follow what you're saying sometimes. So clean it up. No, they were very kind. Yeah. So we're just having too much fun on the airwaves.
We get a little carried away sometimes.
Sometimes it's better to have fun and be misunderstood than to not have fun and be understood.
Yeah, we don't want to be
deep and profound. I think Ben Franklin said that.
Sure, sounds like
Mark Twain. You put their names on any statement.
It sounds good, no matter what.
Yeah, it's an affirmation. Yeah. So garden questions. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Well, so Mark really wants to put a Vanderwolf pine in his yard.
That's great.
And he was told, be careful, watch for drainage. They're very sensitive to that. Yeah. So he did a test hole. It took 48 hours for the water to drain out of there.
Okay.
Wants to know, what do you think? Should I do it? Should I not? Find another spot?
Yeah. So Vanderwolf pines are pines do really well in northern Arizona. And then most of the listeners here are tuning in from northern Arizona. They do not, they adapt well because it's dry, it's arid, it's bright, it's high altitude, extreme temperature swings, everything that pine trees love. We have it here, except for soils that don't drain. And so if it drained within, I was hoping for 12 hours. They go, go fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're overthinking this. 2 days to get the water out of the hole. That's a lot, especially in the monsoon patterns. Yeah. There's 2 times when we get real wet here. March, the first part of April, you get these real heavy, wet snows that take weeks to melt and disappear. You see damage on evergreens then. And the monsoons, August, September, lots of rain consistently, multiple times a week, where the whole, you'll get rain more than every 2 days. And so the plant never gets a chance to breathe. Pines don't like that. What can you do for this hole? So it was Mark, right? Correct. Mark, don't plant a Vanderwolf pine in that hole as it is. Change it up. Now, what we do is we create, in the industry, we call it a chimney. We'll take a piece of that hole and we'll try to dig it to the next soil band, the next layer of earth. And you'll see when you're driving down the road, you'll see these big earth cuts and you'll see different bands, different layers of soils. Well, you've got that in your yard too. You just want to try to dig down to the next layer and all of a sudden the plant will start draining. You can take a digging bar, a jackhammer, just a shovel and try to peck out a piece. When you see the soil texture change, test it again. My guess is it will now breathe, will drain. Plant your hole then. The other tip I can give you, and this is what I learned years ago, plant on a slight mound. So don't plant, whatever you do, don't plant in a divot, no matter where you're talking about in northern Arizona. Don't put it in a hole. That's what they do down in Phoenix. where it's 110 degrees out in June and it's midnight. It's just hot. So here we cool down. And so plants, and we get much more moisture. So you want the top of the root ball to be at soil level or even a little above, then mound that soil out. To be above would be critical for this Vanderwolf or pretty much any evergreen. No evergreen likes soggy, wet soil. And so to leave 2, 3, 4 inches of the root ball out of the ground, and then take some of this extra mulch, extra soil, topsoil, and then mound some dirt up. So when you finish, I don't see exposed root, but I see a slight mound. It's tapered, so it's hardly, no one will see it except maybe you, the gardener. And then put your irrigation on top of that mound. Put your water basin around that at the outside edge, and that will guarantee that at least 3, 4 inches of the root ball can breathe. That's a game changer. Your mortality rate will drop dramatically just with that technique. But the way it currently is, what the question was posed, took 2 days for my soil to, should I plant it there? The answer is no, unless you modify the hole or change it or raise bed or another part of the yard. So just, they're so sensitive to which makes them drought hardy. They're tough. They go through drought and hot and heat, low water. They got a lot of things going for them, but soggy soil ain't one of them.
Right. So beware with that one. All right. Next question is from Don. He says, I think I heard you say to prune lilacs, not to prune lilacs this time of year.
Okay.
He said, if that's true, my maintenance man didn't get the same information.
Get the memo.
He wants to know, is there anything he can do at this point, or is the year?
So have your wife go outside. The maintenance guys are out there. Have her hold them while you can slap them, because they just totally blundered the whole thing. There's no recovery at this point. So that is not going to affect the health of the lilac or your spring bloomers. It doesn't affect that at all. It just won't bloom. So when they pruned it back this time of year, they cut off the flower bud that's been forming for 4 or 5 months. Now, is there enough time to possibly have new flower buds to form? It would be worth a try. I would try it. Or can we bulk up the flower buds that remain? Let's say there were some down towards the heart, the inside of that shrub, or off to the sides. Many times they'll cut back the top trying to get it down. And so you'll see these butchered lilacs, they bloom off to the sides and not up to the top. It looks kind of like a Dr. Seuss lilac or something. But what I would do is I would fertilize that with the all-purpose plant food right away, like right now. And then I would get a bag of super phosphate specifically for them, add super phosphate to the fertilizer. Super phosphate 0,18,0. That middle number forms flowers. And so put that on there, pray for rain and snow through the winter, and you'll find out here into March and April whether it worked or how much it worked. And what that will do is you'll get great foliage, and the few flower buds that are there will bulk up, and you might get some additional flower buds. And then train your staff train your gardener. Don't you prune lilacs in April and May. You don't prune them in November. Come on. Anyway.
Probably May. Yeah, that was bad. But maybe you can recover.
That's okay.
Okay.
It'll be beautiful. Just won't blow.
So Barb would like to know, she had a 10 by 10 patch of wildflowers. That was beautiful. Of course, it's kind of reached the end of its season.
Yeah.
She wants to know if she can just take a weed whacker or a mower and go over that, and if now's the time to do it.
Yeah, you can do that right now. It'd be perfectly fine. So for our wildflowers, what we're going to do, so I've got a beautiful patch just outside the studio here. It's way bigger than 10 by 10. And it's fun to look out the studio while I'm writing garden columns and watch the birds, butterflies out there. It's just magical. Wildflowers do really well here. I'm going to leave that patch for the birds as long as I can. I'll probably leave it out there because the coneflowers, the Mexican hats, the echinaceas, they're all fabulous and great seed sources for the birds. And then I'll probably go back and just weed whack that or mow it aggressively. Probably in January, February, March, sometime when it just looks so ratty and I've got nothing to do and I kind of want to go garden and it's a nice warm day in January, I'll probably take the mower out there and just mow it or weed whack it. But I'm thinking of my birds specifically. Good I'll idea. Keep it out there for them. But if you really wanted to, yes, you could do it right now. No problem. Go for it. And so anytime between now and March, prune it back at your leisure.
Good.
Ken Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this. Feed your plants now for bigger, brighter, better fruit in spring.
Water's 644 fruit tree food is safely organic with added calcium for sweeter fruit quality.
Far safer for your pets and birds than those chemical fertilizers the box store sells.
And it's kinder on the environment, too.
Simply sprinkle on the soil and water it in.
Bigger, brighter, and better fruits in spring.
Get yours today at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Natural, safe, organic.
You're listening to Ken Lain, aka the Top 10 Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week in Prescott at Waters Family Garden Center. Listen daily as he answers the top 10 questions of the week, streaming on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts.